Commander Zexthul adjusted his targeting scope one final time, as the blue-green world rotated slowly beneath his fleet. The third planet of this unremarkable system had been catalogued months ago. Primitive bipeds, barely past their nuclear age, with laughably fragmented governments and no unified space presence. Perfect for harvesting. "Deployment pods ready, Commander," his second-in-command reported. "The subjugation chains have been distributed to all boarding parties." Zexthul's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. The hegemony had perfected this process across 17 star systems. Arrive with overwhelming force, demonstrate superior firepower, deploy the neural control collars, and within a solar rotation, another world would be contributing to their empire's labor force. These humans would join the ranks of the Valari farmers, the Nexian miners, and countless other species now serving their betters. Begin the descent. Target their major population centers first. Establish dominance quickly. The first wave of hegemony ships descended through Earth's atmosphere like metallic rain. They expected panic, desperate military responses that would crumble before their shields, and swift capitulation. What they found instead was something their databases had no classification for. The humans were ready. As the first hegemony dropship settled onto the outskirts of New Geneva, its landing sensors detected an anomaly. The ground beneath them was wrong. Too warm, too active. Emergency klaxons began wailing inside the ship, just as massive mining charges, buried by human engineers, weeks earlier, detonated simultaneously. 3 dropships vanished in pillars of fire and twisted metal. "How did they know we were coming?" Zexthul demanded, watching his tactical display light up with warning signals across the globe. His communications officer's voice trembled. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. It's in our language." On speakers. The voice that emerged was calm, measured, and spoke flawless hegemony standard. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Coalition. Your species made a critical error in your intelligence gathering. You observed our world from a distance and saw only our limitations. You missed our greatest strength." Zexthul's claws extended unconsciously. "Impossible. Our stealth technology—" "Your stealth technology is adequate," Admiral Chen continued, her words cutting through his protests. "But you underestimated human curiosity. We've been tracking your invisible scouts for 3 months. We reverse-engineered your technology from the debris when we shot down your first probe. On the planet below, what the hegemony had interpreted as primitive infrastructure revealed its true nature. Those massive construction projects they'd dismissed as inefficient human architecture were actually weapon platforms. The orbital satellites they'd catalogued as communications arrays began repositioning themselves with military precision. "You came here expecting to find farmers and factory workers," Chen's voice continued. "Instead, you found engineers and soldiers. You brought chains for slaves, we brought cutting torches and warships." The human fleet rose from the planet's surface like an unleashed storm. Ships that had been hidden in mountain caverns, beneath desert sands and under polar ice caps. Vessels that combined human innovation with reverse-engineered alien technology, creating something neither species had seen before. Zexthul watched in growing horror as his superior numbers meant nothing against human tactical doctrine. Where his ships moved in rigid formations, human vessels flowed like hunting wolves. Where his forces relied on overwhelming firepower, humans used precision strikes and impossible maneuvers. A human fighter craft, impossibly small compared to hegemony vessels, somehow penetrated his flagship's defenses. Instead of weapons, it deployed something else entirely, a message pod that attached itself to his hull. "We know about the other species you've enslaved," Admiral Chen's voice explained as images filled his command screens. "The Valari, the Nexians, all of them. Congratulations, Commander. You didn't just attack humanity, you gave us a cause." The battle turned into a rout within hours. Human ships disabled rather than destroyed, capturing hegemony vessels with surgical precision. Those neural control collars the aliens had brought for human slaves found new purpose as the tide completely reversed. In the aftermath, Zexthul found himself in an impossible position. a prisoner in his own command center, watching human engineers systematically take apart his technology, while Admiral Chen stood before him without restraints or guards, as if she had nothing to fear from him. "Your empire assumed that all species would react to subjugation the same way," she said, examining one of the neural collars with clinical interest. "Resistance, defeat, compliance. You never considered a fourth option." "What option?" Zexathul asked, his pride finally cracking. "Revolution." Chen smiled, and for the first time, Zexathul understood why his species' victims had never successfully rebelled before. They'd never had humans to teach them how. Within a year, the hegemony's carefully constructed empire began crumbling from within. Human liberation fleets appeared at enslaved worlds, not as conquerors, but as teachers. They shared technology, tactics, and most importantly, hope. The Volari learned to turn their farming equipment into weapons. The Nexians discovered that mining charges could breach more than rock. Every species the hegemony had subjugated became students in a curriculum of freedom that humans had perfected through millennia of overthrowing their own oppressors. As Extel sat in his cell aboard a human vessel, watching his former empire tear itself apart through rebellion after rebellion, he finally understood the fatal flaw in their intelligence gathering. They had observed humanity during peacetime and mistaken restraint for weakness. They had seen a divided world and assumed it meant disunity. They had cataloged human weapons and somehow missed the most dangerous one of all, the human refusal to accept that freedom was something that could be taken away. The hegemony had brought chains for slaves. Humanity had brought something far more dangerous, the idea that chains could be broken.